Welcome, everybody. It's an excellent show here on the One Up Yours podcast for Friday, March 14th. Weekend confirmed. Excellent weekend confirmation because not only is Monday St. Patrick's Day, I think Milky had it right when the pre-show. He's like, that should be a holiday for everyone to be Irish and go, get their drink on. But also, it's NPD Day. And, man, I know everybody goes crazy for those. Although I thought the numbers were kind of boring this time. But, we'll get into them in the news section. In the first segment, we're going to have What You've Been Playing. We got some stuff there for me. Of course, Milky's here because he got to go play StarCraft 2. If you haven't read his preview, you should check it out because dude knows his StarCraft 2 shit. Second segment, we're going to talk about the upcoming draft. We could talk about the draft, or we could talk about the drought that's coming in the second part of the year here. July looks absolutely barren. The rest of the summer looks pretty nil
in terms of
game releases. Yeah, it
looks really bad.
Like maybe even worst yet, which is really crazy because we're supposed to be like gaining momentum this cycle, but instead of gaining momentum, evidently summer's just gotten completely forgotten about. And then we've got news. We got all kinds of news. We got along with the NPDs, we've got EA going hostile over their Take-Two takeover attempt. Kari Barlog making a Road Warrior game and all kinds of other stuff. So let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's let Sam start it off.
All right, sure.
I know you're doing Army of Two.
Yeah. Though I haven't played on the retail one yet. Like I just got it the other day, so I'm gonna hop online and see how that's going. But we've been covering Army of Two quite a bit lately. And,
no, you didn't review it for Reels.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Big.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah, and I gave it a B-.
Good.
Yeah.
When I was talking to you about that the other day, I thought it was pretty interesting because I didn't play either versions up until just recently. And I was like, well, what are the big changes? And you were like, well, they didn't have checkpoints, so if you died. And when I finally started playing it the other night, I really, really understood what you meant because those missions are long.
Yeah.
Just when you're done with one part, and then you finally move on to another thing, like you rescue the hostage or you go do this other thing. Those things are long. And I can't imagine if I died and I had to go all the way back to the start of that level. Thank God they delayed that game.
Yeah, not only the checkpoints were not having checkpoints was insane, but then the load times before too were it was 30 seconds. So not only would you have to go all the way back to the beginning, but you'd have to wait 30 seconds to do that.
And the load times now aren't super hot either, but I'm sure they're better than 30 seconds.
Yeah. But it was especially bad in one level where you had to take out this guy, this boss at the end of so you're playing 15 minutes to get through the level. Then you take out this guy at the end of the level, the boss, and then after that you have to blow up this he had chemical weapons or whatever, and you had to throw a grenade or
I remember this.
A rocket launcher into it, and if you got hit by that explosion, so I got far enough away.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, if you died because of that, you had to go all the way back after you beat the boss already. That was when I was like, what the fuck? Really? This is just...
How does anything like that ever get through playtest?
They might as well just put in a fuck you button.
I know. But
it
wasn't a playtest thing, though. That was more of just a technical thing where they were having problems before getting the checkpoints in. It was just... And the loading, mid-level loading. I don't know why, whatever. But, yeah, I'm so glad they had an extra 3 months.
You know all those game design schools that are popping up everywhere? Learn how to be a game designer.
DeVry.
Well, learn how... This is how to make checkpoints.
Yep. But so the extra 3 months that they had was well
at least they put it
and,
back in the oven.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of that whole is EA evil or not debate.
Right.
They make it a little blurry every once in a while.
Yeah, they cooked the E. coli out of Army of Two.
Yeah.
Who was that guy we talked to that came by? Elaine. He is really cool.
He
actually,
is such a cool guy.
It's so weird that
he's he's the studio head for EA Montreal, and he's really down to earth guy. Tells it like it is. Actually, one thing I really was amazing when they came by to show us the game before, the final after they went away and worked on it a couple more months, and then they came back here to give us an idea of the new stuff they had added in. And what was great too is like, he's showing us the game, and he was even talking about some of the cinematics, and like he was like, yeah, this one you can kind of tell that this was one of the first ones we did because it's not as polished as some of the later ones. And it's just like to hear that kind of honesty in a game demo was just great. But like, I mean, whatever, but he's such a cool guy, and
he
like,
is really cool. I mean, I think whatever motivations EA has as far as their corporate structure, whatever, as long as they have guys like that in the trenches, like running studios and making games, then they'll always have some success. I mean, that guy, I have absolute confidence that he can make good stuff.
Yeah.
The game is still a little bit of a fruit basket, though. I mean, there's like, the press A to like, high five your partner, and they sit there and start doing their guitar riffs, where they like give each other high fives and stuff.
It doesn't have the butt slapping though.
Did it used to have butt slaps?
Yep.
But you know what? What's really funny
is the tampons.
The back-to-back slow-mo.
No, actually,
trigger points.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Like the end of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh,
You ever see that?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a funny story
It's a shame
about
there's no
Alan.
ass slapping.
Actually, a funny story about him actually was that like when I first went to see Army of Two, this is probably like 2-3 years ago, I was one of the first people to ever see it. And it was me
Montreal's got great strip clubs.
We're not going to talk about that. But no, but when we first went to see
Sam
it,
knows how to rack up a bill at a strip club, actually.
No, that's Peter.
I wouldn't know.
That's Peter Wynn.
Yeah. No, but, anyway, when we first went to see it, it was just me and a couple other press guys, and a lot of the when we got out of the demo, like a lot of the observations from the other people, they were just talking, we were chatting, whatever, and they were like, "Wow, there's a lot of gay moments in this. Like this is so gay. Wow." And
by gay you mean free spirited?
No,
No.
there was a lot of butt slapping, a lot. Well, and it was. It was sort of unintentional. Like there was one part where you were, you have to, like in the game, you have to lift the other guy up or whatever. But early on, they had
he was doing an ass out.
Well,
right?
yeah, but early on, for some reason, he was like up against the wall, so his crotch was in his face. But in the when they were giving us the demo, he was like lifting him up and down. Kind of.
Oh, no.
It was like he's humping his face, and just like so the other guys, we were like wow, this game has a lot of promise, but they're all like kind of joking about the gay factor and stuff. So like and I gave EA some honest criticism after. I was just like, not there's anything wrong with that or whatever, but your target audience,
gay mercenaries.
your target audience, may not be able to take it seriously because of that stuff. And
you should have said it like your target audience may have a problem with the face humping.
Yeah. But so here's the thing. So then like 2 months later or whatever, I was at an event. It was actually our ZIF Summit event or whatever. And Alan, the head of the studio, was there, and like we ran into each other, and it was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was like, "I got good news for you. We're based on your feedback, we're going to make it 100% or like 50% more gay." Or whatever. It was just so funny to hear that from him.
How do you as game designers not recognize things like that, you know? It's like, what?
Because you get caught up in the concept. You get caught up in the concept, and you're thinking about it in one way, and then you don't ever see it that way.
You stare
I
at a
guess,
dude like humping a dude's crotch all day. You just don't see it after a while.
But so are you enjoying the game though? Like now that you're playing it?
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I would like to see them evolve the concept. I hope they don't
that's
make
what
it a
is.
one-off.
Right. No, I think it's pretty fun.
It's fun, but it is very rough in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Things are not smooth.
Would you have scored it better if it was just a multiplayer game?
No.
What do you mean,
no.
Like if it was just like
No.
like Warhawk. If they just like
because
because
you'd only have a two-player multiplayer game, then that's kind
by all accounts, I just heard that the single-player game kind of sucks.
No, actually, see, that's the thing. I would not say it sucks. It's just not really what it was supposed to be. Like
Dude,
it's
you're planning to get a retail copy of it, right?
I have one now. Yeah.
So
definitely.
obviously it doesn't suck.
Yeah, no. It's interesting because it's like there, despite like some of the
even though it's the
weirdness
weakest part, it doesn't drag it down. Then
no, it doesn't. It's just a different style of experience, I guess.
Yeah.
You have to control the guy a lot more than you would hope. Like you're basically telling the dude what to do all the time.
Yeah,
that's okay, but it's just a different game
than.
than.
I think it's pretty cool, but it would be nice to be able to have like say preset options like. I don't know.
Right. Here's the thing too. Like actually, and having talked to them a lot about why they did this. So so one thing they said that, originally, even a couple months ago, in the version I reviewed before, they the guy was actually your partner, the AI partner was actually a lot more he had a little bit more of a mind of his own in terms of you could tell him like, hey, go up and or cover me or go forward or whatever and take out some guys or whatever. And he would actually it were more suggestions back then because he kind of had a mind of its own. What EA found that a lot of players when they were testing it was that they were like getting mad at that. They were like, if I tell a guy to go, he should go. And so I think like even though in theory it sounded cool to have like a kind of experience where you're just kind of leading him or suggesting where he should go.
That's not what they
like
expected then.
Yeah. So like clearly there's a lot that they can still do with it, and they have to just experiment more.
Well, that's good
like,
because at least there's like that a sequel would be improved.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
At least they took the running into the light shit out.
Yeah.
Like when you're reviving your partner.
See, and
he's
again,
literally
like,
running into the light.
Yeah. and those scenes just took you completely out of the game. Like it was like probably 30-second like mini game things where it was just like you're in the middle of a battle, your guy goes down or whatever, and then all of a sudden it cuts to black and you're like it just has like the light and he's like running away from it or whatever, and you're pounding the X button or whatever.
Comedic moments.
Yeah, and it's just like
Caroline.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though is that now between this and Kane and Lynch, it's almost like a new kind of genre. That kind of cooperative.
Yeah.
You got a real AI partner. I mean, there's other games that do that, but this is specifically like a
shooting things with your imaginary friends genre.
You were telling me like you would have loved to see a game. Remember you told me the example of Cookie and Cream. Like remember
right.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys remember that?
From software.
Yeah. You remember where it was like very, very like you were always dependent on that other guy.
Okay, so the context is we were talking about this, and I said, and
you said you want to be a rabbit, and I want you to be my rabbit friend.
Exactly. Two funny things, like you said that we're talking about buddy games. This points out though what a gamble it is to make it a co-op game, because so much of this conversation, we've been having this conversation for like 7 minutes now, and we've been basically talking about it as a single player game.
Right.
Yeah. And so I mean it's such a gamble to make it as a multiplayer game, which comes to the second thing was what we were talking about was this thing looks a lot like Gears, and Gears had co-op play.
Right.
And so my question I started off was like, how does it stack up to Gears? Like Gears is co-op play. And well, I mean, what did you say to that?
Well, I just thought like Gears actually allowed you to had more moments where it actually allowed like where co-op can kind of excel is you have one guy going here and another guy going here, and and then they're for a common objective or whatever.
Right.
And I think like Army of Two is far too many situations where it's just mainly a corridor game.
Yeah,
like you're just.
I think that Gears of War is a much more polished game. When you're playing cooperatively in that one, it basically turns down. It turns into into Gears. It's just that you have a live friend there. So, but you're still dealing with the excellent Gears of War game mechanics, like the shooting and the targeting and all that stuff.
Right.
It's totally finesse and spot on. It's not the same with Army of Two. Like the enemies seem a little. Or just like, I don't know, like I don't think they're really great. I mean, the AI, they just duck a lot, and it gets annoying because then you got to run around and do that sneak up behind them thing. And, the actual what you have to do in Gears is a little bit simpler, but it's more visceral for it. It's like you're throwing grenades, you're trying to draw the locusts out, you're going up to chainsaw them and all that stuff. It's not as awesome. Army
so that's why I thought the cookies and
yeah.
cream thing would come in. If they had like taken it, since they're making this game explicitly as a co-op multiplayer game.
But to explain Cookies and Cream a little bit more, though,
Cookies and Cream has it actually had two. You had two characters on the screen, and each character was in the same world. You saw it on, you saw it laid out side by side, split screen vertically.
Yeah.
But each character was doing something in their world
that would affect the
other world, right? So if you had needed a bridge down, maybe the other one was coming over here.
Knock over the tree.
Come over and knock over a tree, right? So
and I think that was a bit more of the promise of Army of Two. That's what they intended to do, and kind of lost sight of that.
Just didn't happen.
Yeah. But actually, one thing real quick that I didn't mention in my review that I wish I could have was I didn't really talk enough about like you talked about how it wasn't really polished. I ran into a lot of glitches too, like here and there playing it, like things where AI wasn't quite like a guy just running in circles or whatever. At one point
dude bouncing up against the wall.
Yeah,
my favorite was like after I'd shoot a guy, or actually three guys, and they'd all fall down, but then their legs would keep twitching. So it looked like they were jazzercising on the floor.
Yeah, see, there's some of that stuff. One time I had a rocket stuck out of my gun for some reason, just like just stuck into it. I don't know how that would be possible, but it was. And then
that's one of those mods you can buy for the gun.
Yeah, oh, cool.
It's very awesome.
But and then it did actually freeze up on me a couple times.
I bet Europe gets the best version ever when it finally comes out there.
Army of Two EX.
Wait, isn't it not even coming out in like Germany or whatever?
Whatever, like, Germany. Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm actually really, really sad they killed the gay stuff because I really wanted to create like a best bromance award for next year.
You could still do it. You could actually find like good clips and put it together with like the ambiguously gay duo theme song. That'd be awesome.
Or Jungle Boogie.
Or Jungle Boogie. Yes, that might even be better. All right.
So
we fought the fight.
Milk got to play StarCraft.
He got to fight an even bigger fight.
Yeah. So this past week, Blizzard had a few North American outlets down and about like, I don't know, 100 international journalists there.
So you were chilling with Sven?
I was chilling with Sven's, Bjorn's, and Klaus's.
Nice.
I was surrounded by all the like Yumpin Yeminis and the Hoffenstadts and all that. But I learned one thing is that like they were no good at StarCraft. I mean, I don't know who was. There was one guy who came in with a big army. But anyway, so the event was about playing the Zerg, finally unveiling the Zerg race. And unlike the previous times where I got to play the game, which was like pretty much just like Protoss on Protoss, this one was, they had all three races, the Terrans, the Protoss, and the Zerg all lined up and ready for us. But, pretty much since nobody had played the Zerg, that's what we were all concentrating on. The Terrans were new. So I played all three races. The Zerg are awesome. The one thing that I came away with from this event, which was kind of disorganized and it was hard to get anybody's attention, computers were crashing, blah, 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 was that anybody who really loves StarCraft 1 is going to love StarCraft 2. That was my biggest fear. I played StarCraft religiously for like 3-4 years after it came out. And, of course,
see, and hearing that now is my biggest fear, because knowing how much that took away from your job at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
You don't want me having a copy of that.
For how many months?
But like when you hear about a classic franchise coming back, you're always worried, they're going to do it right. New guys are on the game. A lot of guys left, or whatever. StarCraft 2 is really polished. It's really fun. There's a lot of new units, and they also took a bunch of units out. But I would say at least 50% of the core gameplay from the previous game still works. Like if you want to do Zerg rushes, you can. If you want to build a mass army of Hydralisks, you can. If you want, they left Ultralisks in there, and instead of the problem with Ultralisks, the huge elephant-like,
they were a single target, right?
They were a single target. So you've got this giant ass soldier troop unit, and it could target one thing.
Yeah.
If it was like
So it like sweeps now, or
it's AOE. So like like when it's attacking back and forth, when it's tusks, it's wiping out massive crowds. I mean, like,
so you can just rip up Marines with them now instead of getting
it's
shit.
The Zerg are really good. The Zerg, the dev team was saying, was probably one of the least adjusted races.
It was already pretty badass.
It was badass, but before
had really, really big holes and really, really big strengths.
Yeah, now you don't have to sacrifice drones, for example, to extend your creep, like to make sunken colonies and spore colonies. Now you use the Queen, which walks as opposed to flying. It walks around, and you can basically lay down creep nodes and things like that to advance your territorial domination. But I know this sounds like Greek to people who don't play StarCraft.
I saw a little bit of what you wrote. Now the Queen, if she gets killed, can you replace her?
You can replace her, but you can only have one at a time. Okay. And the thing is, you can actually level the Queen up like 5 levels. A lot of people were trying to surmise that it was like
Frozen
a hero unit
kind of thing.
From Warcraft 3, but it's not. It's just you level up and your tech tree grows bigger as you improve her. So if you let your level 5 Queen die, you got to start all the way at the beginning, and it takes a lot of resources to get her up.
So she's like a walking hive.
Pretty much. I mean, she has a lot of abilities. She can regenerate units. She can teleport from one Zerg building to another one all the way across the map. She can do so many things. But
See, I just want to hear about how you kicked everyone's ass.
That was fun. Okay, so like with me was Jeff Green from GFW, who we did a little smack talking before we went down.
A little.
But I've played against Jeff before, and it's not really a contest on any level. But Terry Wen, Scooter, formerly of Official PlayStation Magazine, was there, and he just laughed in the face of death because like when I showed up on his doorstep with like 150 soldiers, he just had to laugh because he couldn't believe it. None of these guys are real hardcore StarCraft players, so they didn't know how to erect the proper defenses. Like I said, there was one other guy I played all day that was able to offer a challenge, but there were so many Bjorn, Svens, and Klauses there, and none of them were any good. There was this one guy, B Gamer. He stood for Bjorn Gamer, but he was like he just didn't know what he was doing, and I would just torment his base with like 4 little Zerglings, like whatever he built, I would like destroy and then run away, let him gather some resources, like, build another thing, destroy it, run away. Eventually he'd just quit. And most of the guys, like, even if it was just a normal game where I wasn't just like being a dick to him, like they would, if they saw that they were losing, they would walk away. The most interesting match of the day probably came from Dan Stapleton of PC Gamer. And he, like, we did a random match, and I was playing as Terrans, right? And he was playing as a Zerg. And it was random, so I got auto-assigned the Terrans. And I learned that the Terrans are a very difficult race, even more so, I think, now than they were before.
They got rid of Firebats?
They got rid of Firebats, but there's lots of...
the Pyro dudes or whatever.
They've got the Reapers that
the
run
leaping
around.
guys.
So the problem with Terrans, even more so than now, is just that they took up so much space. You had to build all the supply depots and all your physical structures. With the probes, the Protoss, all you need is one probe to go around, warp things in, and that's it. All your other guys can they can just gather minerals and harvest resources. But with the Terrans, you've got to have like an SCV on every individual thing. So either you have to have way too many SCVs or you're going to be making a lot less money, one of the two. And it's a lot of micromanagement. With the Zerg, you build them and you leave them and forget about them. You take a drone, you build a unit, boom, you forget about it. And then you just start cranking out soldiers. Terrans take so much work. So I create an intricate line of defense, supply depots, bunkers, siege tanks, a Thor in the background, which is one of the new units.
That's the big walker, dude.
Yeah, and some support battle cruisers and ships in the sky to handle like whatever comes through the air. So Dan Stapleton keeps harassing my base, and I'm just like, you motherfucker.
Especially since you like Zerg.
Yeah. So eventually, we all just ran out of minerals. But he kept coming at me with the Zerg like Guardians to start like blowing my shit up. I'd have like 5 SCVs on like turret detail, either repairing or building turrets to blow the stuff out of the sky. Battle cruiser in there, taking out the Guardians one by one. And he would rush me with Hydralisks and Ultralisks and Zergs and Zerglings, but I had like 4 siege tanks mounted up on the hills, bunkers choking my choke point so that nobody could get in, and backup bunkers so that nothing
position.
Nothing was getting through.
Fall back.
So basically, it was a war of attrition. And I won because he just ran out of minerals. He couldn't build anything else. So then it was just my single last remaining sad and lonely battle cruiser going around killing all of his overlords one by one. So it took me even after he gave up, it took me like a half hour to kill all of his overlords because they were scattered all over the place, and I had one slow-moving battle cruiser.
That's from the sucks to be you, dude.
Yeah. And I seriously thought he might have something else, but it turns out that he got overzealous and was trying to expand into other bases and thought by taking me out early that he would be able to commandeer my resources. Didn't happen.
Best edition of what you played? What do you think's the best edition of what you played? Best thing they've added into the game?
It's really hard to say at this point.
What you have the most fun with?
Well, I really like playing the Zerg. I mean, in the past, I used to like playing Protoss, and I would always go random, but my favorites were the Protoss and the Terrans because
So you were all about the carrier strikes.
carrier strikes. Those don't get old. Like
That never gets
that's
old,
how in the match where I just completely embarrassed Jeff and Scooter. Like I was Protoss, and I had like 60 zealots on the ground. I had only four crews or carriers.
Dude, 4
rather.
carriers is plenty.
4 carriers, which was just like for moral support and a bunch of dark archons and stuff.
Oh shit.
But when you show up with that and you've got these fully upgraded level 3 armor, fast walking, fast moving zealots swarming all over you, you just don't know what to do. Oh, the thing that I came with was like a fleet of colossi. The Colossuses, or their War of the Worlds, walking
Oh, cool.
walking tanks
Yeah.
on the legs, which are incredible at crowd control. So like, Scooter came at me with like a flood of Zerglings, but like all 5 of my Colossi were like gone,
Really?
gone.
Nice.
It was unreal. I just started laughing because like Jeff Green, he was so classic. He's such a good sport. He was just like, Jesus Christ, Jesus. He just started laughing. He just took off his glasses, started rubbing his eyes. He just took his hands off his mouse, the keyboard. He knew there was just no point. And like sometimes I would let him live. I would protect him from other people just so I could be the one to kill him. So yeah, it was fun. It was so fun. It actually was so fun that I went and reinstalled StarCraft 1 on my Mac and have been playing like the last few nights. It's such a good game. Still so good.
Dude, after I read your preview, I think that I might be having to install some StarCraft again myself.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, you
Do
still
it.
got my discs, fucker.
Are those yours?
Yes.
I need to get
Dude, I'll
another
hit
set.
Amazon. It's like $19.99 on Amazon
Battle
Battle
Chest
Chest
or
or whatever.
damn it.
Yeah.
I need a battle chest so I can install it at work because I don't want to truck my Brood Wars disc back and forth. You know what's interesting though is that since they've patched it so that you can run it on OS X and they've updated it so it runs on XP, all that stuff. Why don't they just like, I don't know, isn't there some way to like make it look higher res than what it is? Something?
Because all the sprites are all at that low res, dude, just like Diablo.
I think somebody would make like a third-party thing that sticks like an eagle filter on it or some such
Yeah,
shit.
an eagle filter.
Absolutely.
Come
Eagle
on.
filter the shit out of that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I should get on the phone with Blizzard. Yo, where's the eagle filter? And they'd be like, what?
Hook it up.
Yeah. No, but so anyway, it's good. If anybody's concerned about like whether or not it does the first game justice, yes. And it looks fantastic.
Awesome.
Really, really looks good. Like the Zerglings, for example, or the Zerg race, like when you're a Hydralisk and you're mutating into a Lurker, it creates a bubble, and the bubble's lit from inside, and you can see the silhouette of something gestating in that larva, and then when it erupts, it's like gross. It's so detailed, it's ridiculous.
Nice.
Anyway, that's it for StarCraft.
Scott, you were all
fuck,
retro.
I'm
Did
doing
they
all
have
kinds of
an
shit.
eagle filter on your shit?
Oh, shut up. No, what the hell? No, I
Shut
was
your
like playing
hole.
Phantasy Star 4. I played through StarCraft 2 again. No, Star Control 2 again. Sorry, wrong
Wow.
star. Actually, no, mostly I was just playing a shitload of Audio Surf. Just,
Dude,
you know,
you've been playing so much of that.
Yeah, well, I know it's like you're three in the morning and you're a little drunk and you don't have to be good at it or anything. It's
Yeah.
just
All right,
it feels good.
I have totally not watched it. How does Audio Surf work?
Okay, it's
cool.
like a combination of
Someone described it as clacks.
little Wipeout.
wipeout plus clacks plus like a visualizer.
Yeah.
Wipeout plus clacks plus a visualizer.
I mean, you're
right.
kind of like
you
on a
pop-
very
you pop-
simple track.
Yeah, you
let's
pop
say,
in an MP3 or CD
Yeah.
or whatever. It uses an algorithm to make a track that matches the tempo and the beat and
All right.
everything in the music, and then you coast down it and run into blocks and match them up.
So
or
how do you
whatever.
control?
mouse?
I mean, it's pretty simple left and
There's
right.
not like
though,
driving
right? Like,
physics or anything
yeah.
though. It's just like it's just left or right. And
But you're kind of just dodging stuff, right?
no,
Like
there
you're-
are different game modes. You can
Oh.
either dodge shit, or you can just you can try to match same colors by pushing them or,
Right.
or randomizing them or whatever.
It's PC
they're like-
only, right?
It's so far, yeah.
I hate that.
I
It's
know.
like PC only. It's such narrow thinking.
Oh, I think eventually this is
It might-
this is
it might-
totally
it might
you know,
move along
But I mean,
sometime,
part
but
of
I
the part of
think
the
it's
beauty
fine.
of this is that like you can use MP3s. That's which
Yeah.
is why
Right.
you know
I
why
mean,
it's
maybe
really
you could
God
good on
knows those
a
PS3s don't play MP3s.
Well, if they stuck it on 360 or something, yeah, maybe you could stream in music into your
Right,
360.
right.
Actually, that's the only complaint I have about the game, and I wish I'd mentioned in my review is you can't stream music into it.
But it would be good for like iTunes too, or I mean
Oh, that'd be
Macs
cool.
because
yeah.
iTunes, Macs,
Oh, yeah.
MP3s.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah. I remember you saying that your favorite track to play Audio Surf was Paradise by the Dashboard Light. You love those tempo changes.
Really?
No, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Especially when Phil Rizzuto comes in at the end, you're like, yes.
When
that's like the classic wedding song from
what I loved when you first started to
they make you do a duet.
No, when you first started getting really into it, what I loved was like every day you'd come into work with like better examples of like the crazy shit that would work with the game.
I keep wanting to throw shit into it, see how it comes out.
Like, didn't you throw one up yours in there once?
I did.
What the hell did that do?
It was actually really, really boring until everybody started talking over each other, and then I just wrecked.
Yeah,
kind of like the show.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say like I loved it because when you came in, you used to have like these rings under your eyes and beer breath and.
Oh wait. Oh.
What?
No.
Anyway, so
you gave me like an R. Kelly CD or something when I asked you. Like put this in there. You fucker.
Yeah, put that in.
And
terrible.
So what does it take? Does it take the beats or does it take the tone?
You just got to see it. It takes like all of the above.
Yeah, I know. I need to see it.
Every part of it is like a different part. Like the rise and fall of the track is like a roller coaster. How it twists, like arches that go by, the speed of the thing, the placement of the blocks as you're.
But really, as a game, like let's say it didn't have any of the create your own track stuff. The game is kind of simple. It wouldn't be that.
It is a simple
right?
game. It's not a bad game. I would enjoy.
But really,
it's
just
like a
mainly to like try the music.
It's mostly something to like do with your hands while you're watching a really cool visualizer.
Right.
You know,
it sounds like a perfect game for a console. Come on.
Oh, I know.
No, it would be good for one.
Sounds like the perfect game to not do work to.
Yeah,
that's about right.
Yeah.
I could master that task.
It's good for a party.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Where everybody's sitting down in front of your PC.
Nah, you just have a big screen. You know.
All right.
It's better than like the Winamp Ripple filter or whatever.
Remind me not to come hang out at your parties. I'm gonna ignore your evites.
You wouldn't come anyway.
Like
sure he would.
Like, hey guys, come on over and watch me play Audio Surf.
That's kind of actually an interesting idea, like an Audio Surf DJ sort of thing.
Looks like you
cool.
got
That's
one
what
customer.
I was thinking, actually.
Yeah, like you come up with like some sort of modification to do like live DJing through your Audio Surf interface. That could be cool. Like have
I'm surprised you're down. You're not down.
You could actually have like two PCs and then just like use a mixer back and forth and whatever if you.
Yeah,
you can do that.
Yeah.
Be kind of cool. You got anything else?
That's good for me.
All right, I have to bring it home with baseball because now that Brian's gone, I guess I'm the sports guy. We've already lost Milky because all right, it'll be quick. Yeah. All right, I've been playing MLB 08, the show on PS3, and it's. Is anyone else going to play baseball, or am I just going to like solo this part?
I don't know.
I might
looks like
play
it's a cooperative
but
game that you're going to play solo.
Yeah,
just like Army
that reminds me. Speaking of boring, actually, can we
What?
import some cricket games?
Okay.
I have so much fun just trying to figure
Why
out
don't you
cricket.
just go borrow Simon's?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
No,
Anyway.
but so is it? I mean, should we be playing it or like?
I don't know. I'm totally torn because so MLB 08 got ragged on a lot last year. This year they definitely stepped up the game considerably on the field. I'm just not sure that it's really. It's not super approachable because what they did is pretty baseball hardcore because it's all baseball's a lot about pitching and hitting, right?
Yeah.
And
Some would say.
Right. I mean, some people like that. There's all sorts of other strategies, but when it comes out, especially like playing the video game part of it, that's always been like the strength of the game is challenging someone as a pitcher and trying to hit them as a batter. And it's weird because the pitching in this game is probably the closest to getting the feel of the pace and strategy of a baseball game right, and that almost doesn't make it fun because it takes into consideration like how well your pitcher's been pitching, how strong he is, how much confidence he has. So if you start pitching poorly, it starts getting even more difficult to get your pitches across the plate.
So it's a sim.
Yeah, it's getting more sim.
Yeah, it's very, very simish.
Yeah.
And in the first place, it doesn't do the 2K thing of like if you hit the meter, if you put the ball where in the strike zone, put the little target where you want it, even if you hit the meter just right, it's not necessarily going to break back right there because it has all these other factors impacting it. And that definitely makes it more like baseball because there's no pitcher that that consistently can perfectly spot a pitch.
See, that's the kind of game that makes like a Wii game take off. Like if they put out All-Star Baseball,
right?
With a simple batting pitching mechanic interface, it would just be like, look, I don't want to deal with somebody's emotions. I don't want My Chemical Romance on the
Exactly.
on the mound.
I mean, it's cool because if you get on a run, you can definitely feel like, man, I've got my fastball grooving. I can like put this thing right where I want it. But like the balance, I think they need to tweak the balance more because
No, I think they need to put robots in it. We need to bring back Base Wars, and then I'll give a shit.
Base Wars.
Yeah.
Add that with some Mutant League football, and you'd have a game.
That would work.
Dude, I was so jonesing for that the other day. I was
Really?
like, EA needs to make a new Mutant League
That would
football.
be cool, but
That'd be hot.
Dude, that shit was awesome. The interesting they need to bring the balance back because what happens is it's very hard to build up your. So each pitch that you throw has a meter that takes all those things into account that shows you how well you can throw that pitch just then, and it's very slow to build. But boy, you throw a couple of meatballs and it's like, when you're screwed. So even if you have your best pitch, you get down to you need a third strike and you hit the meter just right and you've placed it right where you want it, and it falls outside the strike zone. You're like, well, fuck. So that gets really frustrating. And
it makes me long for the days of Sega's baseball games. Like they used to call it World Series Baseball here.
Yeah.
When it was still made by the Japanese teams. And
those are fun.
The Greatest Nine in Japan. Those games were so good.
Tommy Lasorda.
Was that the N64 one?
No, that was like
Genesis or something.
Yeah, Sega.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, another sports game with a fat guy on the front.
Yeah.
No, but it's like I appreciate the depth that like sports games are going to, and with all the nuanced stuff. But you know what? Sometimes I just want to sit down, play a good sports game, and that's it. I like it when it errs on the side of arcadiness.
Yeah.
Rather than simulation.
Or put in
That's
some
why we can still
options.
But I understand why. Yeah,
They put in some options for like a quick play mode or an arcade mode or something. It does have sliders. It does have sliders where you can adjust, how much contact is made, how fast the pitches come in. But it's still, you can't take out the basic fact of the way the game is set up to play. The only other thing about it is the characters look really pretty and everything. But I'll be damned if the PS3 can't do better visuals like of the stadium. And like for instance, we're very accustomed to AT&T Park because we go down. We usually go down to a game or two, right?
Yeah.
So the camera starts in like panning over the bay, and it looks like a mirror with a Lego freighter ship on it.
Oh no!
And you're like, wow, okay, great. And then you get into the stadium, you're like, oh, the guys look good. The grass looks sort of flat. Or you go to Wrigley, and the famous ivy walls of Wrigley look like. I was telling Andrew, it looks like one of those. Those nature wallpapers you put on your college dorm room wall to make it look like, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's like, oh, that's nice.
I never did that.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean.
We never.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just go.
I usually had like,
it looks like wallpaper.
I usually had Maxim posters on my door, even though Maxim didn't exist then.
So I mean, it's not. It's not ugly. I just think I think the PS3 still can do a lot better. You see other games, and you're like, man, come on, it's baseball. They can do better than that, right? Right? I don't know.
Well, looks like you're going to be playing that one by yourself.
Yeah, you play. You enjoy Lego Freighter.
Yeah,
Lego Freighter in the glass bay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
have fun with that one.
I will have. Well, I've got a long summer worth to get good at it because there's nothing coming out over this summer, which is what we're going to be talking about when we come back in just a minute. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Killer apps, useful utilities, quirky undiscovered websites, brilliant life-changing software. You'll find it on AppScout.com from the editors of PC Magazine. Remember, your hardware is only as good as the apps running on it. AppScout.com, stalking the killer app.
All right, we're back and ready to get into the summer drought, which has especially stood out to me because I've just, everyone, of course, with Brian departing, there was a vacancy in the previews position. I moved over and became the senior editor for previews. And so one of the first things I did was I started mapping out, what are the key titles that are coming up, what's going to be happening this summer. And I immediately realized that, especially in July, nothing is going to be happening this summer. Like, really, absolutely nothing. So we're going to start off just like...
Now we know why Brian left.
Yeah, he's like, oh, shit, there's nothing to cover. I might as well go make my own game. What the hell?
Seriously, if people are stuck inside
Brian.
playing video games all day when they could be out getting sun on their ass, man, kids, you need to get some sun on your ass.
No, but I mean,
just want more naked kids running around,
if you
apparently.
have summer vacation, though, I mean, God, like that's what always confused me about the video game industry.
Get on a
Just like,
jet ski and do
well,
it.
no, I know, but I mean, just like, why would you not put out games I mean, I know. I mean, sales.
You'd think that's the time people would be home to play the damn things.
Yeah, that everybody's back from school.
Well, people should get used to releasing big games in weaker quarters. I mean, look at Capcom.
Yeah.
They strategically put out Devil May Cry 4 in Q1 because they didn't want to get into that train wreck of like Q4 holiday season.
Well,
look what happened.
I would
Over
say,
a million.
I'd say based on the NPDs that we have here for the next segment, that they're obviously going to be pretty happy about the way things worked out.
Actually,
but it doesn't always work that way.
Army of Two is a good example of that too. Like that game would have been destroyed last fall.
Yeah.
Like we had so many good games. Like now that it coming out now made it actually like.
You're so obsessed with Army of Two.
I am.
But then
it's all about the bromance.
Then you get freaky years where they put out a fairly big game in that quarter, and even though it does better than everything else that time of year, it still does worse than like the worst game in Q4.
Right.
You know.
Well, there is some stuff coming up like throughout April and May that might be enough to carry us over. I'm going to throw some of these out there. People have been skeptical about it, but Gran Turismo 5 Prologue is going to come out. It's got some hefty upgrades for North America, and that's the kind of game you could like, you get absorbed in and spend countless hours for a car freak, right?
Or
I have a friend who still plays the demo all the time.
You could turn it on and pass out before you're halfway around the track.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
hey, there are people.
It's a Ford, whatever it is, like my neighbor's got. That's fun. I've always wanted to drive that. Oh wait, I didn't.
I unlocked a Geo Metro.
Yeah. Hey,
all
Sharky,
right.
I'm gonna race you.
I'll go get my bicycle.
Yeah.
Also racing in it's showing right now for late May, and I don't know, Sam, you think it's going to happen? Is Midnight Club LA?
It could.
I think it'll be this summer for sure.
Yeah, I mean it might. I mean, you never know really. But
are they doing the open thing too? Like
I think so. Yeah, that's their whole thing.
And test drive.
Yeah,
they are. And when they showed it to us, that was like last fall, right? It was last time we saw it.
I think so. Yeah.
I thought it looked pretty good. You know, it's using the same engine. It's like with the Rage engine, is that what they call it, or something? Rockstar.
As GTA.
Yeah, as GTA.
Well, actually, yeah, and that's what they were saying too. Is that the the stuff that they've done for Midnight Club has actually helped them with GTA. They use some of the same physics and all that kind of stuff.
Holy shit,
yeah.
dude! What the hell is TNA Impact?
That's the TNA Wrestling League. I don't know. What's TNA stand for?
Oh,
tits and ass. That's
no.
I got my hopes all up here.
Oh yeah, this is a wrestling game.
Oh fuck it.
Sorry.
All right, sorry.
Wrestling, but there are wrestling people fans.
Let me see. Can I see?
He's all about the TNA Impact now.
TNA Impact, fuck yeah.
That could definitely hold you over. Some Ninja Gaiden 2, which we were just talking about, coming out in June. That's one you could absolutely get dug into, right?
Lego Indiana Jones.
Hey, I love the Lego games.
Yeah,
so
they're good.
Yeah, I think I'm excited about.
I have a problem with the voicelessness of the Lego games. I gotta say.
I
like
think it's kind of charm.
voiceless.
I think it gives it a charm, though.
Yeah,
like,
you really
I do.
silence is a charm.
What do you want, Bugsy?
No, because actually some of the dialogue. I mean, the text is pretty funny. So.
And there's probably no doubt that Grand Theft Auto is going to be able to keep you involved. Who knows how long, right? I mean, every time we've seen it, we've come away thinking
it's got drunk physics, so that's fun.
Well, yeah, the drunk thing is insane when you see it. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard
like
enough about
trailer
it.
and teaser shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's insane. Like those.
Well, I remember. Yeah,
those like back massagers, the vibrating back massagers. It's like imagine putting one of those on your head, and then somebody getting you in a headlock and tackling you. That's seriously watching that thing is the most. It's not just like the screen gets blurry and you wobble a lot. It really feels crazy when you're playing it.
Well, I remember
I was
Sharky
just watching the animations. Yeah. And I remember it was reminding me of Simatory Dreams. It was that free game somebody made with like the two sumo wrestlers staggering around like drunk toddlers.
Yeah. Well, I remember you were telling me after you had seen it, you were like, that. I mean, if that's not pre-scripted or whatever, like it will blow your mind, and it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a lucky call there.
Yeah.
But it's what it looked like. And I'm glad that's what it is. It'll make it a hell of a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the first part of your survival plan is cooking up some of these good games like that are coming out between now and June. And then there's a lot of stuff. We've had a fairly strong first quarter. Like it's funny you brought up Devil May Cry 4. I was very pumped to play that game.
Yeah.
I have yet to manage to have time to put it in my PS3 and play it.
That's the thing. Like okay, the summer's going to be kind of a dry spell for like hot new releases. I'm okay with that because my backlog of games is now like 48 games I still need to play that I just haven't had time to. If I'm not reviewing it, I'm not playing it. Mostly because I just don't have time.
Right.
So this is good for me.
Yeah,
me
it's true.
too.
It will be nice to catch up.
So I'm saying, like, for me, Devil May Cry 4 definitely. Lost Odyssey because I've started playing it and I know I want to keep playing it, and like a good drought would give me time to finish it. I don't know. What else can you guys throw out there for that's recent that you haven't gotten to? What's at the top of your list right now that you wish you had
Everything
time to
that came
get
out in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Someone right now someone on the forums is posting, God damn it, if he doesn't finish episode 2. confirm.
I want to get back into Metroid Prime 3. I want to play more of that.
Yeah, I really like
Yeah.
that. I think the
Yeah.
controls in that game are like perfect.
Yeah.
Really?
That's what Resident Evil Wii should have been like Resident Evil 4 for Wii. They should have adjusted it so that you aim with the Wiimote, and then you move with the nunchuck. That's it. That's it.
I still think you were harsh on that thing.
I think you need to STFU. I gave it an 8.5. When was that a bad score?
Yeah. Yeah. When the hell is that a bad
Besides,
score?
that game is definitely aging. I mean, when it came out, you would think like, man, graphics don't get any better than this. But a few years later, you're like, well, actually they do.
Oh, I thought it still looked good, and I like
Oh,
the
another
remote aiming.
another game. You were talking about it this morning, Milk, was John Dark. You want to try that out?
Yeah.
The PSP
strategy RPG
yeah.
for PSP.
It's very like Final Fantasy Tactics.
I hope I can
basically.
still find it in stores. I don't want to have to like.
Probably.
Ooh, I don't know what the timing is, but they're doing a special edition of Project. What is it? Project CD. Anyway, the guys who did The Witcher are doing a special edition of The Witcher, which is going to like address. I actually want to play that game. Why are you laughing? That what? The Witcher.
Hey.
Dude, I've just from what I've seen in videos, like I keep watching the conversation bits, and The Witcher or whatever the fuck his name is, he sounds like Garrison Keillor. The dude puts me to sleep. And I
Hey,
don't
don't
think
diss on Garrison. You're getting skipped.
Oh, I think he's fantastic, but I don't expect ass kicking from
Like
him.
Lake Wobegon.
All right. Well, whatever. Don't diss The Witcher. The Witcher was really cool. I mean, cool art style and the whole idea behind it. So they actually sold enough of it that they're now going to go back and take some of the money they made and put it into
All right, maybe I'm just
refining the timeline.
maybe I'm just turned off by the title, because honestly, that's on like my 10 stupidest fucking titles list. That's right up there with like Requiem Bloody Mare.
All right.
I love that
I
one.
shall prove you
I love
wrong.
that.
When I get the special edition of The Witcher, I shall prove you wrong.
All right.
All right? The other thing you could do
No,
at the
you won't.
time. Yes, I shall.
All right.
You got anything else?
No, wait, I was just looking at the schedule. Like, so wait, Iron Man's coming out in.
And
when
we're
is
going to play
that?
good games.
Well, I know, but all right.
I don't know.
Heist, is that going to be good?
Dude, Heist is one of those ones I put on there, and I was like, "Oh, I remember this game. I need to
Yeah.
go." I'm definitely anxious to go actually find the get a preview going of this. Like, take a look at this game again. The last time we looked at it was like all the way back in April of last year. It's
Wow.
Probably going to be Scheist.
Bom,
Sorry,
bom,
I don't know that for a fact. I just wanted to rhyme it.
Are there any other games you're going to play like in the drought? Like,
I'm okay
Stuff
with
from
like
last year or
the
whatever?
older games, the games I haven't. Well, I'm just kind of like in danger of becoming a addicted StarCraft fan, so I got to work my way through that thing
Which,
first.
see, that's cool. That's the other thing. Like, so the other thing that a drought gives you time to do is to go back to those games that have like really active online communities and brush up your skills and get good enough to actually go and play in that that more competitive tier.
I do remember one thing that's coming out that I'm going to be playing a lot of, and I know I'm going to be the only one in this whole damn office that's going to be doing it, is Lost Planet Colonies. I love that online play, and there's so many people playing it. It's like Call of Duty. You level up, you unlock new skins, you unlock new characters and stuff. But the Bionic Commando aspect of it, you're like hooking your zip line into the ice wall, you're jumping up to the top of a building, protecting your capture the flag base kind of thing. It's so fun. And like when Colonies comes out with all those new modes, like the giant acrid mode where you're one of the big bugs and you're trying
Wait,
to
you get to
stomp-
control a bug?
Yeah, you get to control one of the giant bugs. They're all trying to shoot you in your glowing orange ass, and but it's going to be fun. And like I really, it's got so
all right, I'll
much cool
play.
new shit.
I'll be a bug.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Anything
Nice.
else? You want like maybe Warhawk? You think it's
Yeah, actually, I was going to say that. I'm going to
I mean,
go
that
back
could be
and
a
play
game
some
you go
more.
back and because
Yep.
it gives you time. That's the whole thing with games like and you'll know from having Sean on the show usually like. In order to get into those games, you have to be willing to go in and play it long enough to get past being griefed about,
Right.
2 days worth and get good enough to play the game and have fun with it again.
SOCOM should be fun.
Yeah.
Look at the highly customizable SOCOM. Like the better you get,
Going
the
back to the roots
bigger
of
the
more
clans.
close quarters combat.
Yeah.
That could be definitely good.
How customizable is Warhawk? I haven't had a chance to play that.
Not very.
Because they were like,
Yeah.
you can customize your skins, blah 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 blah.
It's not that customizable.
Hopefully,
but,
SOCOM is a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
So the other thing that's been happening, and we've been watching this since the 360, since Live Arcade took off, is whether or not there's an absence of these retail titles, there's probably going to be a lot of downloadable games that keep coming week after week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this could give like a great opportunity for those games to really gain an additional part of the market, a new market, right?
You know what's really good about the DLC realm, I think, is for shooters, like 2D shooters.
Oh yeah, that one that you were showing me.
I got
There are almost
Triggerheart,
too many.
Alexica.
Oh, I played a
know
little-
there's so many of them.
Well,
I'm like,
the thing is, I mean, there's the little developers. One thing every game developer wants to do is make a shooter. I mean,
but
they're all shooter
what's great is that
obsessed, so-
they're these little developers like Warashi and stuff like
Yeah.
that are able to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Warashi's-
so I downloaded Triggerheart Alexia or whatever
Yeah.
over the weekend too. That was pretty good, I guess.
Warashi, is that the team that made Mars Matrix?
It might have been. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. But that one's it's fun, but it's
And
like
Omega 5 and stuff
yeah,
like
that
that.
would I think that looked cooler
That
actually.
looked really
like,
pretty,
yeah,
but it's different, definitely a different kind of shooter.
yeah.
Yeah, but I keep on seeing like the little review lists come out, and we have to volunteer for whatever. And it's like, yeah, there's a shooter coming out for Xbox Live. It's 2-stick, 4-directional thing, and it's like, really?
I haven't seen that
No
before.
They're still fun to play, man.
Yeah.
I'll happily drop $10 on one of those things.
Well,
any
yeah, and
day.
if they can add like something creative to it, then they can bring
Oh, yeah,
you
no,
in.
give
And they're
it a
perfect for
chance,
this.
but-
This is like the perfect thing. Like like you go out
But
to the
the
beach or
thing is-
whatever all day long. You come back, you sit down, you turn on your.
But I'm up
Xbox
to my
Live
eyes on the
Arcade.
fucking things. I mean, there's still so much more you could be doing with that. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just coming down off the IGF. I still have a high from that. So I keep thinking of shit like, why don't they put Fret Nice on there? It's like a platformer you play with the Guitar Hero controller.
All right.
Yeah, why the fuck not? I mean,
Man, holiday language, please. Holiday language.
Oh, you know
Sorry
what I
about your
downloaded?
bad ears.
No, I downloaded N Plus over the weekend.
Oh, how is that?
it's
how'd you
cool.
like it?
Is it?
I
You
just
like
started
it? Good.
playing it, but it's cool.
Really?
I was really worried
I
about
think you'd
that.
like it a lot, Mil.
See that, Shane? The shit is tight.
Yeah.
Why was Shane hating
Oh
on
my
it?
God, he was hating on it horribly.
That punk.
It's cool.
He's like, oh, it looks terrible. It's awful. The graphics are bad.
It's not about the graphic.
yeah, shit.
I want to download Flow for the PSP.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Worth it? Think so?
I don't know. Andrew's
Skip
shaking his
says
head.
Skip
Yes.
says yes.
I don't know. Flow. I never got it. Like I know there was a group in the office that got really, really taken by Flow, and I could sit down
You
and
weren't
play.
stoned enough.
Yeah,
I get
I think
that-
that's probably what it was.
That could-
Like
You know what? I think right now, I think that the Xbox 360 has the best downloadable games just because they've been at it longer. But I really like what the PSN is offering just in terms of their really experimental stuff. And I feel like I need to get one of those goddamn iToy cameras
I know,
now,
me too. Like I'm
because they've got all
browsing
this
the
stuff,
store,
like,
and there's like 10 iToy games that look kind of cool. I don't
Yeah.
know if they are or not, but like I want to
I just
try
want
it.
the fish tank one. 'Cause
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
like a high definition fish tank. You know, like what's the Endless Ocean kind of satisfies
Right.
that a little bit,
yeah.
but it's so crappy looking because it's on the Wii, and the Wii is crappy looking, and But I want the high.
You
def
want
fish tank.
HD fish.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
if you got the camera, you can
wanna
HD fish to
You want to see your
stroke.
own reflection in their scales?
something like that. But you can actually like do this like just a little hand motion there and like feed the fish.
I
or
want an
whatever.
HDC, man.
That's a pretty cool. Oh,
That would
yeah.
be- yeah.
That'll probably be on Wii. And it'll look crappy on Wii.
Jesus.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
All right, that's what
I don't really
that's
want to see
what I
your
was-
Seaman in HD.
That's what I was going to be playing.
Let's just stop saying
Jeremy
Seaman.
imported a copy of My Stylist for me. Did you see this thing?
No, what is
It's,
it?
it's a toy. It's a Japanese thing for the PSP. It has a camera on it. And the idea is you take a picture of all your the clothes in your wardrobe, and it like matches outfits for you. I'm gonna take this thing to fucking. I'm gonna take it to Goodwill
Like, you know
and
what?
like photograph
What?
everything. I'm gonna photograph all my clothes in
What?
fucking MMOs and see how
What?
it'll dress my torrent or whatever.
What
It's,
is the advantage of this? Like, it's
I
like,
have no
okay,
fucking
okay,
clue.
here's a gamer. Let's say this came out in
this is-
America.
yeah, well,
right?
no, and it's a game that's coming out of Japan that has the
it's-
craziest fucking fashion sense.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
but
like,
even if it came out here,
Yeah.
this game is going to do
it's,
what?
it's gonna be like which T-shirt with the flames and the Goku on it should I wear with these pants?
It's going to match up your Crash Bandicoot T-shirt with your jams, right? And if you can't do that by yourself,
Yeah.
oh my God, you know.
Well,
I
I
don't-
don't fun with it anyway.
I hope you don't change your style.
Wow.
Look at that. People can't
I
see,
like the,
but
I like the
What, Hawaiian shirt with
Yeah.
a winter coat.
got
I'm
the-
trying to trick the outdoors.
Awesome. All right, so why the hell do we have this drought coming? I mean, what the hell is the deal? This should be a peaking time, and we're heading towards a
I
big
think
holiday
it's-
season.
I think it's an odd cycle of like, the development times take longer. I think there's
Yeah,
a lot of that.
yeah.
People aren't ready. People don't want to.
It's-
They.
yeah, it's kind of like on the 360, we've seen a lot of the best stuff. There's probably a lot more to come, but like in terms of like what we know about it, whatever, it's like last year was huge. Like we saw all these great games, and they kind of ran out of steam a little bit. And then on the PS3, we're still waiting for a lot more of this stuff. So it
Yeah.
seems like, with the development times especially, it's like
I think a lot. Well, don't forget Metal Gear Solid 4. You know,
someday.
Somewhere, people have already been screaming about that. I'm sure that, there's already 25 posts now. Where the hell is Metal Gear? Yeah, of course, Metal Gear Solid will be a huge filler for the summer. People will be playing the hell out of that.
But
you forgot about a little game called Metal Gear.
But you know how long they've been working on that, and you remember all of Shane's arguments when the PS3 was just getting stomped about how Final Fantasy will save everything, right?
In 2010.
Well, right, exactly. And who knows if that game is even going to hit in 2009? I would put big money down that it doesn't.
No, it hits in 2009.
There were years where Square, before it became Square Enix, relied solely on one core title a year.
Right.
Remember when we were working with Kyoko and it would be like, oh, this year is Kingdom Hearts year.
I know.
This year is Final Fantasy X year.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you 2008 is going to be the year of Kingdom Hearts. At least PSP, DS,
right.
And then there may be some offshoots for Final Fantasy and stuff. But if Kingdom Hearts hits in 2009, Kingdom Hearts 3, that'll be a big deal.
Yeah.
But both that and FF13 could get pushed back till 2010.
Jeez.
So with Metal Gear and Grand Theft, do you think a lot of developers were just saying, screw it? People are going to have bought these games. They're going to be playing them. There's not going to be anyone out there buying games.
No,
so we're just not
no,
gonna
I don't think so.
I just think it's just taken them a long time. It takes a lot of effort.
And as long as they're going to put the effort into it, then they're going to aim for holiday.
Yeah, not everybody is like a Criterion where they're masters of the hardware and the code. I mean, you're going to see very few games looking that good. They're coming out of Japan. There's still a lot of little RPGs that are being announced for PS3, but they still look like PS1 strategy RPGs with sprite-based characters and whatever, just in 1080p or 720p. You know.
All right, so Sam, you brought this up for the platform holders. What's the impact? Because it does sort of feel like the 360, had that long run of people jumping from game to game to game to game, and it feels like that's going to peter out. The PS3
it kind of had. In fact, the only way it's kind of been kept alive is maybe with the DLCs. I mean, some of the DLC stuff, but also just the Xbox Live Arcade stuff.
You had people jumping
now
to
it's
arcade
jumping
games.
from Poker Smash to maybe N Plus or to stuff like that. There are no retail games right now.
Still a big splash with Rainbow Six Vegas, probably.
That business model never hurt Nintendo, for example. They'd have their end of year AAA title, and then they'd have a mid-year A title. It's like, here's Super Smash Brothers coming out now, and something big will hit at fourth quarter. But they usually have an extended drought in between the big AAA releases.
Oh, and as Andrew reminds us that it was announced earlier this week that Mario Kart for Wii will be out in North America before all this too, April 27th. So
can I just say something
what
about
drought
Mario
are we
Kart?
talking about? We've got Mario Kart though.
We're talking about the drought's the middle of the summer.
Yeah, I know.
The drought is so there's a lot of stuff leading
after
up to
April, it goes to
and
shit.
then and then it starts to really slow down in May.
Metal Gear maybe.
Metal Gear hits, and then you suddenly have this long stretch between July, September, July, August, and into September right now. Although I'm sure there will be some announcements that games are going to be out in September. That really looks very empty.
Can I just say that I am going to be playing very little Mario Kart Wii?
Really?
I've been playing that same goddamn game
How many times?
Since 1993.
Yeah.
We're analyzing the naming conventions of all the Nintendo first-party games, and it's just. I know this is not a secret to anybody, but it's game name.
And then
platform name.
Yeah.
64, DS, Wii.
Uh-huh.
Oh, let me guess. Mario's going to drive around a course with bananas and palm trees on it.
Nope.
No?
Nope. No shells.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
See, the thing is, I've been
bananas.
playing the same game with every hardware, but it's never been as good as the original, I don't think.
Actually, you know what? I did like the DS one. The DS one was really hot.
Yeah.
The DS one
that
was really good.
But
that one was full of wind. But it's like, this is not what I'm looking forward to. Like, oh, Mario Kart Wii, that's going to be so awesome. Can't wait for it. I can wait for it. I can really wait for it, Garnett.
But the other thing that's big to point out is that means that the big Wii franchise titles are going to be out in North America by the end of April, right? Because Mario Kart's going to be out, and so then
you need a Star Fox.
So we're excited because
Yeah.
they ran out of the obligatory stuff.
yeah, Wii Fit.
Wii Fit, yeah, for the summer I'm getting fit. But so I think there's going to be an interesting dynamic that
Wii
happens.
Fit's going to turn me into an Adonis. The years are going to melt off this
You already
body.
are my Adonis.
You know what? I'm gonna come in with pecs of godliness. It's gonna be unreal. And I'm gonna owe it all to Wii Fit and Subway.
Yeah.
I have this picture of Jared showing up at your doorstep with the Wii guys. We would like to play. Would you like a Subway?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think there's going to be this weird thing that happens because there is going to be a loss of momentum for everybody. And I don't know if anyone's benefits, but and we're about to talk about the NPDs. Mm-hmm. The PS3 has been gaining momentum at least versus a chief rival in the 360. And if the software support starts to slow down, this might give the PS3 like a tremendous opportunity to really advance its claim on this generation.
Well, it's pretty obvious that Microsoft just wanted to win fourth quarter last year. That's why they bombarded the retail with all these really, really good games.
Absolutely.
I still think the 360 is the system to play because it's got so many good games. It's unbelievable. So many good games. But their problem is that, they're relying on a few core titles like Ninja Gaiden, Fable,
and Fable's
like
going to be the fall. So, I mean, you've got during this.
Yeah, right.
Plus, you've got two humans.
Peter told me.
Yeah.
Two humans.
He's told you so many things.
I mean, I don't know how great Two Humans going to be or not be. I don't know what you guys think.
I think for you, from what I played, I think you'll love it because it's very Diablo clone, and I had a freaking blast with it.
Really?
Like, I honestly cannot wait to play that game.
I am still unconvinced that
you were telling me about Hellgate though once upon a time.
Yeah, let's not talk about Hellgate right now.
Yeah, let's not.
That's a whole other bag of oh my god.
In controlled experiences,
flaming
they
shit
gave
on
it
your
to us,
doorstep.
it worked. It worked when we went and played it.
I'm still unconvinced that Silicon Knights can deliver a genuinely, undeniably awesome game. I know that people like him because like anybody who was like a second-party developer for Nintendo back in the day, got like extra credit. Mm-hmm. It was a little unfair, It was like, Twin Snakes was okay.
I don't give a rat's ass. I just wanted Eternal Darkness again. Do that more.
They're never mind.
But even that,
you might find something you like soon.
I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that was great though.
I liked it.
Still not sold on that.
So look, it looks like they're going to move that back till at least the end of summer. So at least for looking at the EB Games website, and that's probably. I mean, they have had so long to work on it. There's no reason not to just put the infinite level of polish on it now. Milk. Next time we have a build, or when they send us a build, I'll make sure you get a chance to see it because I think you'll like it. Okay. I honestly think you'll like it from knowing as much as you like Diablo.
The reason I like Diablo is because it's like simple, but you get all kinds of cool loot options. That's what I care about, loot.
The loot in the game.
You can't go through a podcast without talking about the loot.
I'm a loot whore. If I could dress you up, you'd be fun.
I'm a loot whore, and if you see the art that they busted out on the Two Human loot, you'll be hooked.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Speaking of hooked, apparently people are still hooked on Nintendo products because that's the big winner of the NPDs. We're going to come right back and dig into those. Stick around. We'll be back with that. All right, folks, here they come. The NPDs for the U.S. Video Games Industry, February 2008, brought to you by your fine friends at NPD. And where should we start? You guys, let's start with hardware. Hardware.
You know what should be the theme song for this show?
What?
Apache by the Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh, yeah.
You know it. You know I'm right, Skip. You know it. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
The hardware numbers are not very interesting. Basically, they're the same sort of thing.
So let's talk.
Like nothing. Okay, first of all, February again. The Nintendo DS sells a tremendous number of units, 587,000 in frickin' February, without even any major titles.
I wish I was shitting money like Satoru Iwata.
Seriously, and I think that there's some indication maybe that the Wii supply is getting a little stronger because they were able to sell 432,000 units of that. So they're back there at a tidy combined million pieces of hardware sold between their handheld and their home console in February.
To thank you for buying our hardware.
Seriously. Thanks for buying this stuff. PlayStation 2, 351,000 pieces.
Yep.
People insist that's never going to be a problem, but it's still outselling their other hardware offerings.
I maintain that if we had not
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this yesterday.
New hardware consoles, like if the PS3 and 360 weren't out yet, we'd still be doing all right. You know,
I think so too.
I'd be playing PS2, I'd be playing Xbox, and I would still be okay with that. You know.
You think Xbox you'd still be playing? I think Xbox might have fallen off. I think it might have found it hard to keep up because the domination of PS2, especially installed base-wise, would have just gotten insurmountable.
I'm just
True,
saying,
but
saying
keep in mind too, like Microsoft cut off everything on Xbox once 360 was coming around. Like they just flat out just were like no more. Whereas Sony kept, like God of War and all this other stuff, God of War 2.
When I look at my game collection on my wall, obviously I have a lot of Xbox games, Xbox One games that I'm going to keep in my permanent library. But though that library feels the least essential to me, like there's a ton of PS2 games that I'll never get rid of.
Absolutely.
But I can conceive getting rid of, especially with most of the stuff being downloadable now, like even Ninja Gaiden Black, I can totally see just, getting rid of all my Xbox games. There's a couple of things that just won't come out, like what was that, Metal Wolf Chaos.
Oh, God.
And Okami.
Is it the president with a robot?
Not Okami. Help me out. Otogi. Otogi 2.
Yeah.
Otogi 2 rocks, and I can't believe that's still not backwards compatible. What the hell?
Otogi 2 did rock some shit.
Yeah.
That's why you do. Unfortunately, you do have to keep your Xbox One for like
POS.
a couple of games. Yeah.
All right, so PS2 still rocking, and PS3 did once again defeat the Xbox 360 in hardware sales.
It's a small margin, though.
It's a small margin.
That's pretty tight.
For better or for worse, Microsoft continues to insist that they're having supply chain issues.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they didn't have supply chain issues when the machine was under heavy demand.
Well, let's put it this way. My friend of mine just recently bought a 360. He's a cheap ass, so it took him a little while to get into this thing, right? But he finally went after a 360, and he was looking for an Elite. He doesn't have anything that could necessarily take advantage of an Elite, like HDMI, anything, but I guess he just wanted the bigger hard drive because he figured in the long run he's probably going to need it, so why not just start with an Elite? Couldn't find one in all of San Francisco. Well, at least the places he went to like 4 or 5 places. So he got the standard with the hard drive, whatever that's called now.
Pro or whatever that's called. Well, I mean, maybe there's some validity to it, but he went and found the Pro. It's not like he couldn't find any. It's not like a Wii situation where you go to Target and there's nothing on the shelf. That's
and
a supply
problem.
Our
supply of everything sucks.
So and Microsoft is saying though
that
that next month is going to be the month where there will be no more shortages or whatever.
Right.
Like they keep pointing at April, right?
Right. So next month, put up or shut up, and then of course there's the rumor that there'll be a new SKU. So we'll see how that all shakes out.
The thing is, like, I don't believe, and I could be entirely wrong, but if like Microsoft, the thought now that like they may incorporate Blu-ray.
Well,
I think
they killed that.
They
killed that. We've got that actually coming up from a Reuters report. So let's do the software real quick. 360 software, though, still selling well. You've got 5 of the top 10 titles on 360. Call of Duty 4 still leading the pack, but a very narrow margin over Devil May Cry 4. And Devil May Cry 4 on 360 and PS3 combined had excellent, great sales. I'm sure they're happy with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you were pointing out something interesting.
I'd be happy if I sold 300,000 of anything.
You were pointing out something interesting that Capcom was looking at, which is that although there are far fewer installed PS3s in North America, you've sold a ton of Devil May Cry on PS3.
Yeah, it's a higher percentage. Like the 360 version of Devil May Cry is sold almost 300,000, whereas the PS3 version sold about a little over 230,000. But that's a higher percentage compared to the installed base of PS3 owners versus the, like, I don't know, whatever 360 is at now, like 3 times as many 360s as PS3. So it's a much smaller percentage of 360 owners that are buying Devil May Cry 4, even though they outsold it.
Do you think that's also part of, like, because Devil May Cry was traditionally a
PlayStation, PlayStation franchise, and also probably because a lot of the people who
also, there's fewer
who
games.
buy PS3s or Japanophiles?
Well, no. But people who have PS3s, there's also a good chance that they have a 360, so that probably diluted the need to buy it on 360.
Yeah.
It's mostly right now, people with PS3s are looking for anything to validate that system.
Well,
so
there's a lot less competition on
given the
PS3.
Chance, you want to turn on your PS3 to play a game, so this is one of the big games for it. So if you had both systems, all right, I'll get the PS3 one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of PS3 owners do probably have both systems because anybody it takes a hardcore gamer to be an early adopter. So if you got a PS3, you probably have a 360. And I know for me, Sam, I totally buy into the thing about it being a Sony. Like Devil May Cry is a PlayStation game. Even when people were talking about, oh, you can get achievements, all that stuff, I'm like, dude, it's Devil May Cry. You play that. I mean, it's a PlayStation game. It's a PlayStation game.
I still think it feels great on 360. I mean, the controller just feels really cool. Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Which one do you prefer?
I've been playing the 360 one.
Oh, okay.
Like the load time thing, whatever. It's not that big a deal,
Right.
You know.
And also a couple of other interesting highlights on 360. Lost Odyssey came in with over 200,000, which is that's good.
Yay!
Got to be a plus for getting good RPG, Japanese RPG on 360. And then the next one kind of, I guess there's still strength in the name, Turok.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, well, they advertise the hell out of that thing too.
But I know a lot of people like I play games with online. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to go play Turok." I'm like, "Really? You bought that? All right, cool, whatever."
I wasn't feeling like the buzz was that sharp around The Office before it came out. Anybody did you play it at all? Did anybody check it out at all?
I think people said it was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of pretty good games.
yeah, exactly.
That I don't play,
that's what I mean,
Can we
and that's
just
why.
stop including We Play with Remote? Honestly, that's like turd with a car. They must love that turd.
What? We Play's fun, dude. I mean,
It's not that great.
you don't, Andrew. You don't think
They're buying it because it's got a fucking remote.
Well,
Right?
it's
a good bargain when you
no,
consider
because
it
a
has
lot of
the-
people bought the Wii for Wii Sports.
Did the Zapper ever
and
hit
that's
the
the
top 10?
closest thing. Like, if
No.
you want
Yeah, but
another
how much more
Wii
does it cost
Sports,
to get
what do
We
you
Play with
get?
a remote or just a remote? It's the same price, isn't it?
What?
We Play with a remote. It costs about the same as a remote.
There's a little.
No.
It's like
$10
$10
more?
more.
Yeah.
Still, I think a lot of people are like, "Hey, I like Wii Sports. What do I get next?"
By the
And-
way, the game that we're not mentioning, besides like the 10 Guitar Hero 3 SKUs, is the Mario and Sonic.
Oh, yeah.
Olympic
I had
Games.
that highlighted. Yeah.
wait, didn't
DS.
that sell how many worldwide? or
Overall,
like,
I think they got to be combining like
Yeah.
Nintendo DS and Wii version sales, but they
it was
said
like
like
5 million.
6 million for the Mario and Sonic series worldwide, which is really pretty good.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, the DS version really fun.
I
It's
know.
like-
when you said that, I was like,
It's like
really?
It's
All
like
right, I'll try it.
It's like the spiritual successor to Track and Field, and what was the one on Sega Saturn? Decathlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, those games.
So do you put like your
fun.
DS down and pound on the buttons?
Some games require that. Some games, most of them require the stylus on some level, but it's
makes
really
sense.
fun and it's good looking. I have to say.
That's cool. All right, so Sam, you brought this up. Actually, Microsoft has responded to the rumors concerning Blu-ray for the Xbox, and Aaron Greenberg, who's the group product manager for the 360, in a story by Reuters, said that they are absolutely not in talks with Sony to include Blu-ray high-definition DVD technology in the Xbox console. He was quoted as saying, "We're the only console offering digital distribution of entertainment content."
What?
That's what he was.
Except that's not true. But
Except for the
in
PS3.
any way, or the Wii,
PS3
or
doesn't have a movie
that's so
service.
fucking
Doesn't have a movie
vague.
service
that-
yet.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
PS3 doesn't have a movie service. I think
Did you
Yeah,
say movie
yeah.
service or digital content?
Yeah, he said entertainment content.
Digital distribution of entertainment content.
So he means movies,
because
but he
yeah,
just
because
said it
games
like
aren't
a retard,
entertainment.
so-
Yeah.
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 So and then he
But yeah,
also.
well, I don't know. Does 360 really need a Blu-ray drive?
No,
I don't
Well,
think so.
I mean, I'm sure developers would like it because
Well, oh no, wait.
Nah.
No, you can't start making games for Blu-ray or using Blu-ray games on 360. That would just like
I'm
confuse
saying
the shit.
I'm
Like,
saying that like developers would probably not mind the storage space, but like if
Yeah,
Microsoft,
but Microsoft
did that,
would never do that.
No, I
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah.
Like they would never do that because it would create that division. It's
It's gonna
already,
split the-
it's already
split the
bad
user
enough
base,
that you've got these people out there with the retard pack, like
Yeah.
forcing like limits on downloadable content from Xbox Live Arcade because
The instability on Lost Odyssey has been attributed to not being able to cache.
who like at this point has
It would be a 32X at
Has,
this
like-
point if they did.
right, exactly.
10 memory cards for the 360 to store all their downloadable games but don't have a hard drive yet.
I know.
What they need to do is they need to like stop dividing the user base and get rid of the non-hard drive version. They got to have that one packed in with everyone and just deal
It's
with
going to become even bigger a problem too as
Yeah.
we go. Like this is just going to get worse and worse for them. So I don't.
They would never
but
put a Blu-ray drive in there because
Yeah.
people like what do you do? It's like, oh, we released the Blu-ray SKU and we released the DVD SKU. No, it's not going to happen.
I think people were
No, so
presuming it would be an add-on.
Right, it would be an add-on. We're talking
it'd be a
purely
stupid
no,
add-on.
but we're talking purely movies here.
And
It's not.
these
not
are the
this,
things that if just for a movie
Right,
player?
yeah. for a movie
that's
player.
all. I mean, because they would never ever use it for games.
Then it better be a cheap-ass Blu-ray add-on player, or else just buy a PS3.
Right.
Or just buy a Blu-ray player.
But I mean, they're trying to take
Blu-ray
away one of the
player's still pretty expensive,
so
though.
but if a lot of people are saying that you want to buy a PS3 because you can watch Blu-ray movies on it, that would be their counter. You can buy a cheap add-on and watch Blu-ray on your 360.
So they
But,
do
like,
it just to
I
shoot
don't
down a
think-
stupid internet argument?
Right, exactly. I don't think Microsoft cares enough about that, and in fact, it actually kind of helps validate Sony's decision at that point. And I just don't think they're going to do it.
Before they do something like that, I'm sure, they're already working on their new console. Who knows what Microsoft's long-term plan
Right.
is? But I don't see there being any benefit to putting that on. That's not going to stop people from buying a PS3.
Absolutely not.
Unless a Blu-ray add-on comes out for like $100, it's not.
The concept behind it would be that it's like a service thing of you can have this Blu-ray add-on and it works through your machine. I don't know that it helps any. Greenberg also in that article was talking about the sales comparison between PS3 and 360, what sort of advantage they had. He said, we still think we have a great value, that we have significantly better value than Sony. I think that they're actually internally even starting to question that. You look at the situation in Europe where they lowered the price on their machines. I think they're acknowledging that maybe. I think that's kind of like a little posturing in the sand still.
Right.
But what do you guys think?
Well, I think one thing I think that Microsoft is definitely focusing on is like all the offering the downloadable movies and stuff. So that's what
I mean. That's what they're pushing.
So if they lower the price on the machine, they can sell more machines and get more opportunities to
wait. So
sell you
when do you
downloadable
think
stuff.
they're going to lower the price
Before the summer.
with GTA?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think
That's
they'll
gonna-
have
if-
I think they'll
it will
lower the
happen.
price with GTA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe $50.
Like
on the top end machine,
yeah,
like
at least.
on the middle machine, like the Pro Pack, like your friend bought Milk. I think they'll knock $50 off that. I think they'll knock $50 off of it and say basically now you can get it with Grand Theft for the same price.
Well, hopefully by now they've actually streamlined manufacturing so that they're not taking quite a hit on the creation production of each machine.
Now they're breaking even or making money on it.
Yeah.
You'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
So also in those NPDs, we saw the success of Call of Duty 4, which was like just part of a bigger theme, which was that M-rated titles did absolutely excellent in sales despite
The fact that there's like 3 of them?
Yeah, well, I mean, but here's the interesting thing is we had this story about a month ago where we noted that the number of number of titles being rated M by the ESRB was actually
went down,
declining.
right? Yeah.
It went down, went down another 6%. Or actually, it was down to only 6% of the games released in 2007. But their sales have been going up and up and up. So the author, this was a story over on Next Gen. The guy who wrote the story attributed it to 3 titles, like Sharky said: Halo 3, Assassin's Creed, and Call of Duty 4. Well, if Grand Theft Auto hits, it's going to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Watch, publishers will get wise to this and they'll start rating everything M just because they hope it'll spike sales.
Yeah, it'll be like Mario Kart rated M. There's nothing wrong with it.
Or from Software,
hid some blood in it that
finally
nobody could see.
release the long-awaited sequel to Garnett's favorite game, Cookies and Cream.
Don't.
The sexy adventure, rated M. Your co-op rabbits.
And TNA Impact will
Impact.
be what Sharky really wanted.
Yeah.
Well, there you
It's
go.
called Dead or Alive Extreme.
Electronic Arts is definitely not adverse to releasing M-rated games. In fact, they're so anxious to get their hands on Grand Theft Auto 4 that they're now pursuing Take-Two with a hostile takeover offer. They've sent out to the shareholders of Take-Two. It's still basically the same offer, $26 per share, which is
Except it's not really an offer.
why not?
Well, it is, but
It's
I mean,
kind
they're
of an
just
offer
going-
with a gun held at them.
Nah,
No,
well,
so this is a standard hostile takeover offer. It's
we
been
haven't gotten to that part yet where they try to oust the management and stuff like that. No,
Well,
right now they're just trying to go after the shareholders.
Right,
and
so
buy it up.
through
Well, one of the
midnight.
shareholders sued too, right?
Yeah, there was something about that too, where they sued for not
taking it.
For not taking
not
the
taking
offer.
it.
So
Yeah.
there's been several things happening in as far as the stock goes. First of all, this is a standard sort of thing. So EA has sent out this letter that says basically if you own shares of Take-Two right now, we will in cash give you $26 per share if you'll turn over your shares to us. And if they get enough people to commit those shares to give them a majority, then they will flip the switch essentially and say, okay, we've just bought all these shares. We now own the company.
Right.
And at that point, they could do what you're talking about. So what happens is as these machinations on go, is that 2K will be watching, Take-Two will be watching how it's unfolding. And if they feel that they don't, they're going to try to fight it, right? They'll tell shareholders, no, don't do it. Don't take the money. It's not a good deal. And if they see that, if they feel that like the momentum is turning against them, then they'll come to the table with EA and they'll cut a deal.
Right. Yeah.
I have to say that for right now, I'm kind of agreeing with the 2K side, is that because the stock price already jumped up. You know, the stock price
right now it's at like 24, but even though that's inflated because of the EA thing, I mean, it was what, like,
it was
it
was in the teens.
Yeah.
It was in the teens, but the stock market's down. Dramatically. This stock has come up almost to $26. They're about to drop this tremendous money-making machine out
Which
there.
is why EA is going after him now, because they don't want to try and buy Take-Two after GTA 4 comes out when everything goes up. And I got to say, I got to put this out there, like, I really hate this kind of thing. It's not just the hardcore gamer in me, like, rooting for the underdog. Take-Two is not an underdog.
No, not at all.
Right.
Like Treasure Games is an underdog. They're a small developer. Take-Two makes money hand over fist. But I hate the amalgamation of the industry. I hate it's like, it's ridiculous. It is coming down to the point where we're going to have two publishers. When I went to Blizzard, it was ridiculous. Like, how how much money they've got. They're just raining money in there. They blow their noses on $100 bills. Blizzard looks like Universal City.
Yeah, I heard the office
Universal
is pretty swanky.
Studios now. It's like they've got the gate. They've got the gate guard. It's like this huge thing. They've got huge statues of Zerg and Terrans and stuff like that. It's frightening.
Wow.
So they're like
fountains and harem girls and white tigers and
now EA is going to try and buy this huge arsenal. They just want to be able to reclaim their number one status.
EA is also saying, like, I mean, at the end of the day, really, would it change anything for the gamer? Would you notice a difference? Would it, like, if GTA 4 had the EA logo on the bottom of the box, like, would you really notice a difference?
I mean,
they give me the willies, but other than that,
yeah.
Well, I hate the conceit that, like, when you looked at the what is it, EATake2.com or whatever, like Riccatello saying stuff like, well, we'd be able to provide, their development teams with a stable atmosphere, like good working conditions, all that stuff. We think we can really, help them produce high quality games. They're already producing high quality games. It's like, that's like saying, well, Milky, we're gonna take you over so that you can produce better blogs and stuff like that. I'm like, thank you very much, but I didn't ask you for it.
Have you read my motherfucking blog?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. So Riccatello, it's interesting. It's very much now a posturing war. Riccatello was quoted as saying, "We're bringing it forward now in order to close this transaction sometime in the summer, as opposed to starting several weeks from now and finishing it later, and ultimately being in a position to pay less." No, you'll be in a position to pay more, obviously.
Yeah, I think it seems like right now they're going to probably have to pay more.
Maybe a little bit more.
But although some analysts have said that for Take-Two to get the stock up to the $26 like consistently, it would take them probably 3 years. Like, even, and this is not like, even after GTA 4 and after GTA 5 or whatever,
right?
It would take them 3 years to get to that price.
To hold it up there. Like, it's going to pop after GTA 4, but then it'll come back down.
Yeah, and that's what EA is trying to tell all the shareholders is like, guys, do you want to wait 3 years or do you want it right now?
So from this continuously being updated story on Bloomberg.com, a couple of analysts that they quoted, of course, one of them, we'll start with Michael Pachter since he's always out there. He says that the offer will only go up if Take-Two management is perceived by EA management to have some leverage. And he thinks if it does, it might go up $1 or so a share. And also out of the Dallas firm of Stern, Agee, and Leach, Arvind Bhatia said that he predicts that this is likely to be successful, that if necessary, Electronics Arts may boost the offer by $1 or $2 a share, and he's recommend holding Take-Two shares right now. So
is everybody, all the analysts are pretty much saying it's going to happen no matter what, or are there some who are saying, like,
the analysts seem to be laying this theme out there of, what, you guys didn't come to the table, it's cooled off just long enough that now this deal comes along, the shareholders are going to take it. And interestingly enough, there was a couple of large institutional investors that got out of Take-Two shares a week or so ago, which does increase the vulnerability to this sort of play.
Is anybody else bothered slightly about the whole premise of, like, like, oh, well, we want to buy you, just to fatten our coffers and fatten our roster? Oh, you don't want to be bought? Oh, then we're going to force the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome to capitalism. I mean,
well, and it's like, and Take-Two and all that. It's a publicly traded company, so there you go. But I mean, they want to They wanted to buy Ubisoft. They want to buy, it's like
EA.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying EA wanted to buy Ubisoft.
All right.
EA wants to buy Take-Two. It's like.
You know,
I don't know.
and yeah, I mean, well, for EA, it's not just the money thing. I mean, they're looking at these games, and like EA wants more M-rated games too. They want to kind of have a
They
more
see this as a way to
lineup
definitely
and,
diversify their lineup, and also put an ironclad lock on sports.
That's the other
That's
big
another-
part.
That too.
That's
That's
another
right.
thing
That
that-
was.
Yeah.
You buy Take-Two, and then suddenly you have zero competition in the sports field.
Done.
And who benefits from that? EA definitely does. But does innovation die out? I know that they generally put out high quality products. There's no problem
Right,
with
but
that.
there's no disputing that the competition in recent years hasn't helped.
Especially in this, I mean, you're talking about guys who are into sports games. They're motivated by that sort of challenge, that competition. That definitely helps. All right, so one of the things that EA has been doing is they've gotten bigger. They are, at least, the good news is EA has learned a lot about running a big studio. They've gotten away from using common tools and let studios back to doing their own thing. On the other end of the extreme is everybody and their brother building Unreal Engine games. And so over on TG Daily, Tim Sweeney of Epic was interviewed, and he had some interesting comments about Unreal Engine. He says that Unreal Engine, which we're talking about now, Unreal Engine 3, has now become very much tied to the console cycle, that because it's tied to the console cycle, they'll be adding new stuff into that engine for a long time, like through 2012. They'll still be working on Unreal Engine 3. And that version 4, or the next engine that they're just now starting to work on the prototyping and thought process on, will be a console-exclusive engine.
Interesting.
Weird.
Wow.
Which says a lot about where PCs are. And he goes on in this interview to add that on the PC, now this is where it gets a little odd, because on the PC front, then he has optimistic thoughts about PCs. He says that he sees a future where PCs will ship with graphics functionality built into them right on the right on the system level, where you won't have to add expensive video cards or any of that kind of crap. He says, it's just like what happened with sound cards. A few years ago, you had expensive sound cards.
It'll just be on the board like the CPU and everything.
And now
else.
nobody has. It's like because of Vista, it's all done in software. Boom, everybody has useful sound coming out of their machine because you just plug it in the motherboard. Same thing with video. If that happens, then the PC becomes a lot more friendly place to develop.
This story makes me wonder, what's up with id? Everything used to be Quake Engine. Now it's all Unreal Engine.
They did capture the mindshare really, and they really locked it down, didn't they?
I remember when Unreal was, when I still lived in New York, and some of my close friends were at GT Interactive. Remember them?
Yeah.
And they were putting out Quake. I remember that was actually like the first FPS I really sat PC FPS I played.
Isn't Rage or whatever their own engine?
What?
A weird ass racing game with a dude with the funny hat. What the hell was that? Was that called Rage?
Are you talking about GT Interactive?
No, I was talking about id.
Id.
Oh,
their next game.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's their own engine.
Yes, that is their own engine. Yes, they're developing their own. Of course, they're developing their own engine. Come on, Carmack. He's an engine guy.
I mean, did they just move away from licensing it out to things, or what happened to that?
I think Epic was super aggressive on pursuing licenses, and that they were very aggressive at least selling the idea of tool support and development support of, we'll support you on this. I mean, every time you heard Mark, especially like a couple of years ago, Mark Rainey, he's always, we're going out to this publisher and helping them with this game, or we're going to, we're there for them. And that was something that they built up their company to do, whereas id, I don't think, ever developed that side of the house.
Yeah, Mouthpiece, like a real cheerleader for it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, like what happened with renderware too, just how that's just
gone, like we talked about. That's
what happened when EA bought them. It's like they
we got an interesting kind of perspective on that too when we were talking with Alain like a while back. Like he kind of said how one of the EA was interested in Criterion and renderware because they had this concept back then that every studio could be using this for all the games, and it would make a lot of sense to have the entire company working off of this. And then they realized it didn't really actually make sense. Like it wasn't working for everyone.
I think that's one of the things I brought up when we started talking about this. I think that's at least one interesting point of positive side to EA is that they've at least started to learn some lessons of what it takes to run a big publishing company that has all these multiple studios and still make good games.
Right. If you want these games to succeed, don't try to make them all use the same engine. Don't try to make them all be developed in the same way. Like let the studios figure out what's best.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to kill the culture of anything.
Yeah.
Not by any means, but.
Yeah.
All right, well, I got a bunch of official sequels with the number 2 in them announced for you. First one is BioShock 2. Absolutely no surprise there.
Yep.
Looking at a fall 2009 release. This, interestingly, will be developed by the new 2K Marin studio,
yeah.
which is a bunch of the guys from Irrational who came over to this side of the coast to work to form the studio. Because remember, 2K can't provide a stable environment, but they can build new studios for teams. There was some concern that Ken Levine would not be involved in it. Take-Two has already Representative Ori has confirmed for I think they did this for Shack News that Ken was critical to BioShock and would absolutely be involved in some capacity.
I mean, he'll probably like supply a story and all that kind of stuff.
And you've got a bunch of the BioShock team that went over to create this place. I think it's in fine shape. I'm not the least bit worried about it. The other one is the with the official video, MotorStorm 2 got confirmed. Another foregone conclusion, especially as great as MotorStorm looked. Particulars are it's going to an island in the Pacific. Has 16 tracks, so they've doubled up the number of tracks. You got 4-player split screen, which is cool because we actually talked about this in a multiplayer show once about being able to sit down with your buddies and play. And they're adding monster trucks to the mix.
God, that turns me off.
Monster Trucks, the Crusher. Has anyone else watched the video?
Yeah. I mean,
did they not learn their lesson the first time?
I know.
Oh, here's a nice CG video. God damn, it looks beautiful.
I know. And I started watching it. And I was like, oh man, please let this be like in-game, real-time, whatever. And I'm like, a couple seconds.
Fool me
like,
once,
fuck
shame
that.
on you. Fool me 12 or 13 times.
Yeah.
That was. I tell you what did look cool, and I hope. I mean, this has got to be like one of those theme concept sort of videos, right? One thing I thought was cool was they had a lot of environmental interactivity. Like there was that spot where you drove by the observation tower and it like fell down. So like if they have like real time stuff like that happening, that you can create obstacles and such in the track, that could be a cool addition.
Totally. I can't wait to see. Actually, I mean, the first one was kind of rushed, so it'd be neat to see.
I had a blast with it.
I know.
I had a blast with that. It was a fun game. And then finally, Mass Effect 2. The doctors are starting to talk about it over on the MTV multiplayer blog. They were interviewing Greg Zeschuk, one of the 2 doctors, of course, and he said that, and I totally agree with him, and Jen Tsao agrees with him, that the side quests were too disassociated from the main plot of the game in Mass Effect 1. Totally agree. Yeah, he went on to say the design team went in the mentality of adding a lot of planets to explore, but lacking purpose outside of giving a vast galaxy for the player to peruse. Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a bunch of times. I was trying to play the game at the right pace, and I figured that doing 3 side quests for each main plot quest would be enough, and it wasn't even close. I mean, I got to the end of the game, and there was just still tons of stuff there, and I was like, okay, whatever. And what else do we know? Sony, this is an interesting one. Did you see this? That Sony Online Entertainment, which has been reporting to Sony Pictures since its creation, is now finally moving over to the Computer Entertainment and going to be reporting directly to Kaz.
It makes sense. For the longest time, I was, wondering.
Maybe that'll
happen.
fix some shit. That would be fucking nice, wouldn't it?
Right?
Maybe they're not going to be solely in the business of buying failing MMOs and slapping them up.
Why do you think it took so long?
Politics.
I mean, seriously. They talk about like we're going to continue to develop games for the PC and PlayStation 3. Well, you think we'll be seeing MMOs on PS3 other than the agency? Of course. Another game we'll be looking at sometimes down the road will be the new Mad Max game.
Oh yeah, Corey Barlog's new thing.
Thanks, Guy.
Yeah, thanks, Guy. Over on the Level Up blog, he has an interesting interview with George Miller, who is the director on Fury Road, which is the new Mad Max movie. By the way, there's also going to be a follow-up piece to this that Guy has, which is an interview with Corey following up on talking about this game.
They're making a new Mad Max movie?
They are making a new Mad Max game movie, and evidently they were starting on it right around the time. So it's all in
Mel Gibson in it?
No.
Oh.
No, actually, that's at the end of the interview. He's like, no, Mel's a little old now.
Oh, that would have been great, though. And they could have crucified
Harrison Ford is doing India.
Colin Farrell would be a good one.
Yeah.
No, dude, that could totally work.
Yeah, put him in some leather chaps and a couple shoulder pads. There you go.
So the big takeaway from this is that George Miller's approach is very much on the front edge of that idea of developing a property and then figuring out where you're putting which parts of it, like doing the whole idea of game and movie at the same time. And then, as a matter of fact, the big takeaway was he's going to have these movie workshops where everybody's involved. So he's already sent Corey off to go work on what the vision of the game would be, and then they'll all get back together and brainstorm all these ideas to help the game and the movie be completely tied together. Now let's just hope the frickin' thing's worth watching.
Just make them all play the NES game and tell them not fucking that.
George Miller generally makes really, really good movies.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Feet, an exception.
Which actually, so Happy Feet was the movie they did after they had started Fury, but they had decided not to do Fury because the Gulf War conflict started in like 2001. I think he was saying, it threw everything out of whack.
At least Corey Barlog's making a Road Warrior game. He could have been making a Babe game.
All right,
why not both?
Thanks, boss.
And then following up on the more good news for gamers who like that kind of auto crash combat sort of thing is Burnout Paradise, according to Alex Ward on the official forums for Criterion Games, which is at criteriongames.com. In a post says, first of all, they're talking about the liveries, just unveiling some new liveries for the cars. He says, I think we'll make you work for some of those. And one more thing, the islands will be free.
I love Burnout Paradise. That's my endorsement.
I love Burnout Paradise too, and you'll be getting downloadable content, according to Alex, for free.
That's nice.
That's cool.
When you see a game that looks as good as Burnout Paradise and you see that they're making those things free, that's awesome. That's awesome for gamer support. And it makes me pissed off that, like, a company like Namco can charge
shit on the disc
for every fucking plane that you can download for Ace Combat, and there is like dozens of planes. Then they charge you for additional modes
But what was it? Was it Katamari that had like the extra levels? They were actually on the disc. You just had to download the thing to play them?
You buy everyone.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
That's fucking retarded. I look at the list just to see how it grows. There is so much. Go on Xbox Live. Look at the Ace Combat 6 menu.
Yeah.
There is
you have to
so
pay
much,
$5 to look at the menu.
Well, everything it's like a new mode, like capture the flag type mode or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to pay 100 or 200 points. That's like $3. There's so many things now you could actually, if you bought the flight stick, you can pay like something like $300 for this fucking game now, and it's not worth it.
I tell you, no, there are a lot of Japanese companies just they know about DLC and they're like
they see money signs and they don't get it.
They see money signs, but they think this is what people want. This is how it should be. This is what gamers want or whatever.
Let's take content.
Same with like the Katamari thing and having the actual levels on the disc, and then making you pay to download unlock it, and it was like. They heard like, oh, people want to have downloadable levels or whatever.
That makes me want to choke a bitch.
Yeah,
I
know. When I remember we were there at Namco in Japan, and before the game came out, and they were showing us the levels that were going to be downloadable. And I asked them, I was like, well, why aren't you just putting it? Why is this not in the game? And they were like, no, because people like downloadable levels or like downloadable content.
But they're not fucking downloadable. It's like selling me a car and then charging extra to put air in the tires.
I was like, wait, you've got finished levels, and you're just holding on to them. Like once people hear about this, they're going to be so
That's like buying a car and then having to pay extra to be able to turn it on.
Right.
What you think that's bad about? It's bad that I'm bitching about Ace Combat 6 and I can't let go of it. But remember, there's a big game called Soul Calibur 4 in the horizon. Can you imagine? Oh, well, yeah, Xbox owners get Yoda, PS3 owners get Darth Vader, and Yoda and Darth Vader are actually on the disc, but if you want the extra guy, you got to pay to unlock it.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about I'm not worried about having to pay to unlock more weapons.
Yeah, or like, customizable stuff like
actually, do you think they're going to do that maybe?
I think they are.
I think they are.
Oh, man.
Also, a big disappointment over the last week or so, and Milky, you had firsthand experience with this, was taking your Smash Brothers home and not being able to get the damn thing to load.
Well, I did eventually get it to load in all circumstances, but it was tricky. Like, I was getting the disc read error.
So give us the scoop. How do you do it?
Well, the disc read error is like, I guess the Smash Brothers is on a dual layer disc, and some of the early first run Wiis have problems reading those. And when I would put it in, the disc in the machine, I would get the disc read error screen, right? And it would say, power down your thing, eject the disc, and read the instruction manuals for more information or whatever. Instruction manual doesn't help for shit. So, but when I put it in, I was hearing a lot of like, heavy mechanical. It was like, right? I was trying to read it. But there were times where I would just put it in, and usually when I put a disc into the Wii, I'm usually like spamming the A button so that it would, just fire up. I was trying to get past the menus and stuff. And I don't know if this is really effective or not, but I would just let it, scan the thing until the sounds went away, and then I would press A, go to the Smash Brothers start menu, it would start doing the reading sounds again. And I would just like let it do its thing, get it out of its system till it settled down. Then I would press start. So if you don't want to, send your Wii in, if you don't want the downtime.
Right.
You can make it happen.
Trying. Yeah, I mean, I got it to start every
now,
time.
I'm skeptical. Catch this. So here's the Nintendo comment.
Right, because they said it was.
It says a very small percentage of Wii consoles may have trouble consistently reading data off this large capacity disc. Okay, right, that makes sense. So we think it's maybe like early models, something like that.
But they said
if there is contamination on the lens of the disk drive,
right.
Nintendo has specialized cleaning equipment. They have special cleaning equipment that can resolve this issue. Please do not attempt to clean this lens yourself, as it may damage the system. Dude, are they really cleaning lenses, or are they replacing lasers?
Exactly, I think that's what they're doing.
I think so too.
Yeah,
they're replacing what?
Lasers. Lenses or lasers?
Yeah.
Like there's some little tweak or change.
Right.
They're saying well, we're cleaning.
That'd be a fun experiment. I have an idea. Why don't we actually like put a mark on the internal workings, send one in, and see if they change that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the bigger question to me is why even bother?
Kilroy was here.
Okay,
yeah, that'll work.
So that's the skeptic side, but the other side of me says, why would they mess with doing that? Because at the end of the day, they're treating their customers really well. They're expediting
That's
shipping.
true.
They're expediting shipping both directions. They're not charging you a cent. Everything's picked up and covered. So there's no. So why not? If it really was a problem with the laser, why not just say, hey, we're going to replace the laser in it? So maybe they are just cleaning it. I don't know.
They're doing it right, but they're full of crap.
No, I think I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're just cleaning.
I talked
lasers,
to Nintendo PR about this, and
Yeah.
I said, like, is this going to be the fastest way? And he was like, well, describe your problem to me. And he was like, I said, well, I put the disc in, it says disk read error. He's like, I'm not sure you're having the same problems everybody else is having. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like
Right.
I put Smash Brothers in, it says disk read error. I can't get any better than that. It's like, yeah. So he said, like, send it in, whatever. He's like, but just back your stuff up to an SD card.
Yeah,
if you have downloadable games, back them up.
I mean, the end result is the same either way,
Right.
like whether it's dust or I mean, whether it's dirty or whatever, or you're getting a different laser or whatever. But yeah, Nintendo is probably putting a good spin on it. That's what it is.
Right. And at the end of the day, you know what? They're taking care of their customers. They're doing it for free, and they're expediting all the shipping.
I mean, they don't want like a 360 situation with the red ring kind of thing. Like all the negative press Microsoft got
Or the
out of
disc
that. Like,
scratching
they
and
don't
the-
want anything like
Although
that.
interestingly enough, for a long time, Microsoft was expediting the hell out of that stuff too. So it's just it's tough. It's tough when you have a problem like this come up. Mario Kart, we talked about that. It's going to be here on April 27th. Milky's falling asleep, not interested in playing it. Here's another one that's like, wow, this took about 12 million years to come around. We were talking about Square. It used to be the year of one game company. They have finally acknowledged that their current strategy of waiting several months to a year before releasing the games outside of Japan might not be the best way to go.
You know what?
Holy shit!
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then maybe
but you know
yelling
what?
at us about that would be cool too.
They've been talking about this stuff for so long.
I'm so done with Square. I'm so done with this.
No, but I guarantee you could probably find that story for every console generation for the last, since PlayStation 1 or whatever.
Well, they're using Last Remnant as the great experiment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, well, this is being simultaneously localized, developed, so that,
and that will be the one game where they do it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
But I'll really miss it when they're not like yelling at us for writing about cutscenes. We're in a Japanese game that's been out for a year.
Yeah,
and a
that's
half or
good
whatever.
stuff. When you get an embargo list from Square saying not to discuss these certain parts about the game, which has been out for like a year in Japan.
Well, what if it was like Valkyrie Profile? That was out for like 5 years.
Yeah, it's like it's a port of a 5-year-old PS1 game, or it's older than that.
But don't talk about the plot.
It was like 10 years
we'll
old
get
or
pissed
something.
if you do that.
Yeah, don't reveal what happens at like stage 3-4 or whatever. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is like the game.
Right.
Remember when NX published it? Remember that? I've got the strategy guide, guys.
It drives me nuts when you get those.
Well, we got like the character list for Smash Brothers too. Remember that?
Oh,
can I address this?
This is
specifically?
awesome.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this. Like, Nintendo sends us an embargo list for the review of what we can and cannot discuss in our Super Smash Brothers Brawl review. Okay, they're like, okay, you can't.
Was it like Sonic on there?
Yeah, they're like, you can't reveal that Sonic's in the game or Solid Snake is in the game, despite the fact that Nintendo themselves have created CG trailers promoting this fact.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog and Solid fucking Snake are on the fucking box. Okay? In 3 languages. Okay? It's like you can't discuss this. Like, well, the game already came out in Japan. All that information's available on every cheat site and FAQ board.
The morning
that stuff's out there.
Well, it's not like they have their own fucking
yeah.
website where they translate it to English
They're-
or anything.
The morning that we got that embargo or whatever, like Sessler calls me up and he's like, hey, "What are you guys doing?" And I was like, "I was like,
what do you think?"
Like,
See,
I'm like,
see, what I love is that
he's just like, "What are you guys gonna do? What do you think of this embargo?" I was like,
I think it's the
don't-
cock and balls.
Yeah,
I
don't care.
think it's the
I'm
C&B.
just like-
I think it's fucking hilarious, honestly.
I know.
I'm grateful for
Yeah.
it.
I was like, yeah,
don't
we
ever
laughed
change,
at it,
really.
You know?
Well, they said that, we can't discuss. Like, I love it. When you look at this, it's just ridiculous. Okay, what is it? What is it now? It's like March 13th, right?
Don't reveal the title.
It says you can't discuss Sonic the Hedgehog being in the game until April 14th. So, hey, guess what, gang? World, I'm not going to discuss Sonic the Hedgehog being in Super Smash Bros. Brawl until April 14th.
Be sure to tune back in then.
Yeah, check back in a month for the hot news. Hey, Sonic's in the game. Late to the party, asshole. Yeah, sorry. I had an embargo.
Dude, but late to the party's cool. It gives you cred. So
Yeah.
It's cool, right?
Word.
Anyway, thanks to Chris Kohler over at the Wired Game Life blog for doing the quick translation, I guess, on the Nikkei Shimbun. I guess that's probably
It's a Japanese
newspaper,
Yeah.
where he found all this data. So good job. Thanks. We're looking forward to simultaneous launches. Square, I'm sure you'll be around to that in the next 5 to 10 years. And then coming every year, and this is my end of the news on a laugh. Activision has come to the realization in their business model that they might need to address Tony Hawk getting a little stale.
The dude's bones are half dust. I mean, really? They finally,
dude. But you're gonna like this. In an interview appearing in the USA Today, Activision Senior Vice President Will Kassoff calls this new program the Tony Hawk Innovation Plan. That's the plan. By the way, the plan is that they have a plan. There are no details of this plan available yet.
I'd love to have, like, if you went to their office and they had, like, a big printout on the wall, the Tony Hawk Innovation Plan.
Is this like an empty whiteboard with like maybe a drawing of a turd or something in the corner?
Yeah.
By the way,
we plan on being ingenious.
They dropped the Hawk. They dropped the Hawk, and they're like, "Yeah, man, we're on the tip."
Nice.
Yeah. See, I know that's where they're headed.
That doesn't sound good.
Tony Hawk Innovation
Just
Plan.
the tip.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk, just the tip.
I got an idea. You know what the
plan
innovation
is to clone
could be?
a newer, younger Tony Hawk.
Not do a Tony Hawk for a couple of years. That would be an innovative plan.
Yeah.
And then maybe, I don't know, maybe come at it fresh instead of like trying to innovate on the same thing over and over and over.
The Neversoft guys have got to be like so tired of making that game. That's why they moved on to, doing the Guitar Hero stuff and Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those guys are
the only
really,
Tony
really
Hawk game I
nice.
could even bring myself to give slightly a fuck about was the DS one, and it was because like they had Toys for Bob do it.
Right.
So they actually stuck a lot of interesting shit in there. I mean, it wasn't
I really loved
a perfect
Tony
game.
Hawk
It still
when
had
it
to be
came
Tony Hawk, but
all right. So
Yeah, 1 and 2 were great.
What would you tell them to put on their innovation plan then?
It's hard to say. I'm not a skater, so it's like, I was originally drawn to Tony Hawk because it was a good game. The mechanics were fun. Like, you'd never seen an extreme sports that created extreme sports basically. But it survived on the fact that it was a good game. But there's franchise fatigue.
Absolutely.
People are tired of.
And they've already
same thing.
reinvented it once.
Yeah.
And then they iterated the hell out of that again. So
And is Tony Hawk still relevant? It's like people grow up, their heroes get older, and people find new heroes. There's a younger audience learning how to skateboard now. It's Tony Hawk's a legend, obviously, in the world of skateboarding, but is it time to freshen things up? I mean, is his brand name like a Madden where you can just slap it on and
I think his brand name is still there, but if they're going to really innovate on it, they're going to have to come up with. I mean, like I said, they've run this game all the way out, reinvented it, run it out again.
Why do you think that they chose now to decide to innovate? Is it because of Skate?
Skate,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, look how popular that was with the 1UP users in the 1UP awards. I mean, fucking people loved Skate.
Mm-hmm.
So their innovation plan is to jack Skate's controls.
I'm not necessarily.
That would not be innovative.
I'm not necessarily in love with Skate's
Somebody might
controls
think so.
either.
I want an innovation plan.
I still really like the way Tony Hawk controls.
We're gonna do it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want a Garnet innovation
Yep.
plan.
Everyone needs an innovation
The thing
plan.
that started to lose it for me with Tony Hawk was like, I don't want it to be Grand Theft Auto on skateboards where you've got all these quests and all this stuff outside, and I really like the focus of the.
I just want to be able to smack into grandmas and shit. I mean, that's cool. That's fine. That's all I need.
Yeah.
We've reached the end
Wow.
Holy crap. It's a fucking great show, guys. Thank you. Excellent.
Awesome.
You know where to catch up with us during the week. That's at boards.oneup.com. We'll also have Andrew, you going to do the blog with these show notes? He's got the thumbs up for the show notes. So for Andrew, Sharky, Milky, Sam, this is Garnet. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Until then, we are ghosts.